All right, I'm Scott L. Miller. This is Sheepguarding Llama. This is the 13th of September 2020. Good morning. Welcome to the show. So I'm going to start off with, I'm actually filming this on the morning of the 14th. And let's double check my watch. Yep, we can see September 14th right there on the, I don't know if you can see it. And first thing this morning, the coffee maker broke, which is sheer panic. Paul has already run to the store and bought a new coffee maker, and it's getting set up now. So, panic averted, but I haven't had my coffee yet this morning because, Anyway, so first a wrap up from the night of the 12th. So on the 11th, we had watched Sound of Music with Liesl, and she really enjoyed watching this classic movie with everybody. And then on the night of the 12th, we did, I'd done the upload of the video during the day because that night we had a gaming night with The Office, and we played a new game called Among Us, which is like a spaceship murder game. So you all play, you just play on your phone, and you have all these characters on a spaceship, and one of you is an imposter on the crew, and you have to murder everybody. And so it's like a murder mystery that happens real fast. You get game may last 2 to 5 minutes, and the crew has like jobs they have to do, and they run around, and while doing it, if you can sneak up and kill them, people have to catch you, and if they don't catch you, they die. Like it's fun. So we did that, and both girls played because up to 10 people can play at once. And it was a Saturday night, so there wasn't many people playing. So Liesl and Luciana both played that and had a good time with everybody. And then after we were done playing, Liesl wanted to hang out, so we watched some Murder, She Wrote together. And then she wanted to stay up talking, so she and I actually stayed up until about 3 o'clock in the morning, just talking. So that was Saturday night. Then the official video today for the 13th, Sunday, I got up, and then Liesl joined me, and we finished an episode of Murder, She Wrote that we were watching together. And then, because we had one of the things we had talked about on Saturday night was some classic shows and a bunch of stuff about like Disney shows. Like Liesl didn't know that there was like old live action Disney, and she didn't know about like all the movies that I like of Disney, because there's a lot I don't. All the ones I do like are all from an era that she didn't really know. And so we were talking about like all these movies. She's like, I don't know that one, I don't know that one, I don't know that one. I'm like, these are the good ones. These are the ones that you know. And she's like, well, I want to see those. So we started watching some Disney movies today because we have Disney Plus. And so we started with Bedknobs and Broomsticks because she and I had talked about that. And we made it about halfway through. And then Steven, the hairdresser that lives with Kat, came over and did Liesl and Luciana and Domenica's hair. So that took probably about an hour in the middle of the day. And then we went back to Bedknobs and Broomsticks and finished it. And Liesl really liked it. So that was a good win. So she does like the same classic Disney that I like. And then, so after that, we kind of just made it a daddy-daughter movie day. We kept inviting Luciana, and Luciana just does not like watching movies with us. It's extremely rare. Like a Harry Potter once in a while you can get her to do. That's about it. She did watch Avengers Endgame on her own, but I have the same problem that I don't watch those. Now, for a while, Luciana did lay on the bed behind us with Mia, so they hung out and had some nice time. But really, it was Liesl and I hanging out all day, which Domenica really appreciated because Domenica just got the living room and watched her own. I don't even know what she's watching, and she just hid and had a complete day to herself, other than the styling this morning. So next up, Liesl and I watched, and of course there's the air conditioner, but it's nice and cool out. It's probably about 75 out today. This is great, and we hit a low of 72 yesterday on Sunday. So wow. So after that, we watched Oliver and Company, which I remember fondly, and is not bad, but it's definitely not up to par for Disney during that era at all. But it's also the transition after Don Bluth had left, and they hadn't figured out their new musical style yet that they started with The Little Mermaid. It was very much a late 80s transition out of their great movies into their mediocre movie era, when they really depended on music instead of storytelling, and the stories went way downhill too. But it's good, but it's not as good as I remember. But she did like it. But then I decided we needed a solid win, so we went back and watched The Rescuers, which, believe it or not, she has never seen. And so that one obviously is just a solid win. Like, The Rescuers is just awesome. But all of these, I didn't even realize how much, but starting with The Sound of Music the other day, all of these have so many songs in them that we sing all the time, or at least in my head all the time. And now Liesl knows where those things come from, and a lot of references and stuff. So we did that, and then I got her to watch something a little bit different. We tried watching Operation Petticoat, and she made it a good way into it, but wasn't really into that. So we ended up stopping that, and we switched to Disney's The Absent-Minded Professor, 1961, which is black and white, but long after Disney had been making color for a long time. So, like, the Shaggy Dog was 2 years older and had been in color, because, I mean, 61 in black and white, I mean, it's obviously a really good-looking black and white, and it's really obvious when you watch it. You're like, oh, they did black and white to make it easier to do all the special effects. In color, that would have been really hard, but in black and white, it wasn't too hard to make it convincing. But it's also the first Disney movie, or one of the first Disney movies, at least in the 1980s, to be colorized. Although I don't think I've ever seen the colorized version. And I think the sequel, Son of Flubber, might be in color from 1963, but I'm not completely sure. Liesl and I watching that movie, definitely, though, the entire time we're like, this guy's awful. Like, you really watch it, and you can tell it's the 1960s, like, women are stupid, and you don't have to be nice to them. And, I mean, this guy was just, I mean, he's a horrible jerk, the absent-minded professor. The problem isn't that he's absent-minded, it's that he's uncaring and cruel, and evil, right? And just, you watch the movie and you're like, this is a terrible person. Yeah, he wants his basketball team to win, but only by cheating. And he wants his college to be saved, but only by breaking the law. And yes, he wants to help his country, but only through great hubris. And like, and every person in his life he treats like crap. And then this completely vapid woman who he has left at the altar 3 times decides, after he's rich, that, well, he's amazing because he's rich. And this guy who cared about her, even though he was kind of pissy at this evil professor, she didn't like him. Even, I mean, yeah, he was a little bit grumpy, but that was about it. Like, he was an actually nice guy who, was an honest professor. We're just like, this is terrible. Like, these characters are really bad. Very exactly what you expect from Disney, right? Incredibly misogynistic, just awful people. But it was in my memory, I had forgotten that The Absent-Minded Professor was such a story of this awful professor. But so one of the stars of The Absent-Minded Professor in 61 is one of the stars of Swiss Family Robinson from 1960, which of course is in color. And Liesl has never seen that. So we went back and watched Swiss Family Robinson, and that was our final movie for the day. And we both decided as we watched it that it was awful. You don't really realize, but going back now as an adult and watching it, it's the same thing again. It was incredibly misogynistic. The entire movie is about how the mother and the girl that they rescue are completely helpless, worthless women, and how they have no value except to dress pretty, and are completely crazy and are going to get everyone killed and have nothing to add except to incite violence. And the mother, like, if you now watching it, it's like, oh, the mother is willing to kill all of her family in order for any chance of getting off this island, because nothing, not even their lives, definitely not saving her children, has any value compared to her getting back to civilization. And then in the last 1 minute of the movie, all of a sudden when they're rescued, she's like, oh wait, none of that mattered. None of the things I was concerned about the whole movie matter. I'm just going to stay here on this island that I was willing to kill everyone to get off of just the day before. And like, the timeline of the movie doesn't make any sense. None of it really, just the characters are awful. All of them are awful. And it's terrible. But we were able to make fun of the movie the whole time together and enjoy that. So that was our movie day. We spent the whole day doing movies together. I also did a little bit of work on my videos for Take Flight. And unfortunately, this is good that I found out, I did a compilation video of the one night that we went out for folk dancing, and it turns out that they played copyrighted music in the background the whole time, which of course I didn't even think about, because it's just instrumental music in the background. YouTube picked it all up as copyrighted. It's like, oh no, you can't post this. I'm like, oh no, I didn't even, right? Like, obviously I heard the music, but it didn't like cross my mind that it wasn't just someone playing a guitar. It was actually a stereo. I guess had you asked me, I would have figured out it was a stereo, but it didn't cross my mind that that's what they were using, because it was like, there was no singing, it wasn't songs I recognized, right? It was just a bouzouki sound in the background. So now I have to figure out how to overlay music on top of all that in order to be able to upload it and have the video of our nieces dancing. So that's a complication that I now have to deal with. And it's going to take a bit more work when I had a whole bunch of stuff done. But other than that, it was a really awesome daddy-daughter movie day. We spent the entire day on the couch in my bedroom just watching one movie after another, and almost all of them she enjoyed. But we are also knocking out all these classic like Disney films and stuff so that she'll have at least this body of knowledge of those films. Maybe she'll never watch them again, but there you go. I will now go in and make my first coffee in the new coffee maker, and I will see all of you tomorrow.